everyone, and welcome. I am Miss Jamie, one of the program facilitator at Malvern Family Resource Center. Let's start off with our welcome song to welcome everyone. Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? Hello, hello, how are you? How are you today? Welcome, and let's start program now. Hello everyone, so nice to be seeing you again. Now boys and girls, have you seen anyone wearing these kind of flowers lately? Or maybe you saw them as decoration on the wall or on the door. You might be wondering what these flowers are. These are called poppies, and we wear them on Remembrance Day. And you might be wondering, what is Remembrance Day? Well, Remembrance Day is a day for us to remember soldiers. Soldiers are the men, the women who fight for us in war. They are the ones to protect us, and sometimes while they're protecting us, they get hurt or maybe even died. And on Remembrance Day, not only do we say thank you and remember soldiers, but we also remember the ones who are affected by war. Now today, Miss Jamie is going to be reading a story with you, a very interesting story about two groups of beautiful birds, swans and peacocks. And then we are going to be making some poppy crafts. Now boys and girls, I can't wait for today's program. Let's start. Hello everyone, today we have a story called Feathers and Fools. This is a story with two birds. Friends, can you see these two birds? One in the front and one in the back. In the front, this is a swan. Have you seen a swan before? They are beautiful and graceful. And in the back, this is a peacock. They have very nice and colorful feathers. Well, let's see what this book is about. Feathers and Fools. In the garden, long, long ago and far, far away, there lived a peacock. Friends, so here are the peacocks. They live together. Look at these colors. Miss Jamie loved these colors of the book. They're so pretty. They live in the garden with all the beautiful flowers and their beautiful feathers. And nearby, in the rushes and in the reeds, there is a clear blue lake. And inside live these graceful swans. So boys and girls, I guess they're neighbors, right? They live close by, near each other. Just like how you have neighbors, right? Do you know your neighbors? Who lives next to you? And one day, a peacock, he was just thinking. And he said to his friends, "Oh, look at those swans. How strange. They are swimming. Good thing that we don't swim. For sure, we are going to drown." The other peacocks, they're thinking about what the first peacock said. Then again, the first peacock said, "Oh, look at those swans. How strange. They are flying. I'm glad that we do not fly, for we will look so ridiculous." The other peacocks, they're listening and they're thinking about what the first peacock said. Now, boys and girls, what do you think? Is it strange for the swans to be swimming and for them to be flying? Again, the first peacock broke the silence. "I fear the swans," he said. "They are very strong. If they wanted to, they can turn us out of our gardens, or they can make us fly or force us to swim." Here and there, the peacocks, oh no, they're not feeling easy anymore. "Alas!" cried one. "No home, no happiness, no life." And then they started making some plans. Now, boys and girls, what do you think? Is this peacock right? Just because the swans can swim and they can fly, is that going to bring sadness and no life and no more home to the peacocks? And so the peacocks decided that they're gonna gather lots and lots of feathers. They're going to sharpen them into arrows and they're going to hide them in the garden. Now, we can defend ourselves against the swans, said the first and most foolish peacock, raising his voice that the swans might hear. We are going to throw these arrows at their throats and kill everyone if they wanted to change our way of life. Now, boys and girls, what do you think? Have the swans ever said anything about changing the ways of life of the peacocks? I don't think so. Everything that they're afraid of is just in their imagination, only in their head. The swans never said anything about changing their ways of life. The swans were scared too after hearing those words, and they also decided to gather their own feathers and sharpen them into arrows and hide them in the rush and in the reeds near the lake. Both sides, for safety's sake, continue to add to their weapon, making more arrows and more arrows. But the more arrows they have, the more afraid they became. At night in the garden and in the lake, no bird slept. Every little sound makes their hearts race, and every little movement made them tremble. Because they are very scared. Both sides knows the other side have lots of weapons and arrows. That's why they are really afraid. And one day, a swan flew high over the peacocks. In her mouth, there is a reed. She was going to use it for making a nest. When the peacocks looked, they were afraid. They thought the reed in her mouth was an arrow. So they gathered all of their force and all of their weapons, and they went to the lake. But the swans saw them coming, and they were ready. They had their arrows ready and were ready to fight back. And soon, cries filled the air, and blood darkened the earth. A cloud of feathers rose into the sky and haunted the sun. All of the birds, not one remained alive. Silence hung over the gardens and over the lake. Oh no, how sad. Just because of the first peacock who was afraid that the swans might change their ways of life, might be a threat to them. And so now no birds is alive. How silly, right, friends? Then in the garden, an egg hatched, and a small bird came out into the stillness. So friends, let's look at this picture. What do you think this bird is? Is this a swan? No, not a swan. This is a peacock coming out into the garden. And beside the reeds in the lake, there is a second egg that hatched, and out came a little bird. This is a swan into the ruins. They stumbled towards each other. They were curious about each other too. The first one said, "You are just like me. You have feathers and 2 legs." And the second one said, You're just like me too. You have a head and two eyes. Yep. Friends, what do you think? Both of them, they have feathers, they have two legs, they have one head, and they have two eyes. Shall we be friends? Asked the first. Most certainly, replied the second. So off they went together, in peace and unafraid, to face the day and share the world. Look, here they are, walking together beside each other. I love this picture, and now they are friends. And that is the end of our story. Welcome back, boys and girls. What did you think of that story? What would have happened if the peacock was not scared? Yes, the swans were very different. They know how to fly and they like to swim. But at the same time, they're also very similar. Remember the peacock and the swan at the end? They notice they both have two legs, they have feathers, they have a head, and they have two eyes. Yes, all of us have similarities and there are differences between us. What if we learned to accept each other, and what if we learned to respect our differences? I'm sure the killing and the fighting could have been avoided if they just sat down and talk and get to know each other. So boys and girls, Miss Jamie learned so much from this book. I learned that even you and I are very different and we're special in our own ways. I hope you learned as much as I did and got to remember that yes, we're all different, but the same at the same time. For today's craft, it's very simple. You will need some coffee filters for the poppy. If you don't have any coffee filters at home, you can also use some white paper cut out in big circles. And you will need some paper to stick the poppies on. We have a piece of black paper here for the center of our poppy. Miss Jamie has some red paint here and a paintbrush for painting the coffee filters in. And if you don't have any paint, you can use some crayons or markers as well. And we also need some scissors for cutting and a glue stick or some glue for putting the pieces together. Are you guys ready? Let's start our craft. What we are going to do first is to paint the coffee filter. So Miss Jamie has her brush over here. I'm going to dip this into the red paint. See, a little bit of red paint. And I'm going to start in the center. I'm going to start painting and we're going to spread the paint out. Yep, you can spread all the way to the edges. Let's get a bit more paint and we're going to continue painting. And once again, if you didn't want to use paintbrush, feel free to use fingers and your hands for hand painting. And if you notice, the paint went through onto the paper towel over here. Yep, because the coffee filters, they are very thin, so it's easy for the paint to sink, to leak through. If you wanted to, you can put some covers on the bottom over here to protect your table. If you don't want to use the cover, it's okay. Just make sure you clean and wipe the table immediately after you're done painting, and that should get the paint off. Yep, so look, we are halfway through there already. If you didn't want to go all the way, look at these streaks. Look at what Miss Jamie made at the edges over here, and it's actually looking very nice too. So you can add more paint in the middle, or you can add more on the edges. So here Miss Jamie has more paint in the middle, and as I spread them out, the outside, the edges over here, it does not have a lot of paint, but it gives us a new different taste, and I think it's so pretty. So I'm done with my first one. This is what it looks like. We are going to put it on the side and let it dry over there. Now here is my second filter. When we're done with painting, we're actually going to layer the two coffee filters on top of each other. If you wanted to, you can add more layers to it. Today, Miss Jamie is just going to be making 2 layers to the poppy flower. Oops, accidentally added some paint to the back, but that's fine because of the texture of the coffee filter. Once you have paint on one side, you can see through on the other side, right? So that's why we didn't need to paint both sides. This is already very pretty, but if you wanted to, you can paint the back side as well. Or if you're using other paper and it's thicker, you can paint on the back side to make sure you have red on both of the sides. Yep, we are almost there. I'm just going to add a little bit more paint to the white spots over here. Yep, spreading it out. Maybe some on this side too. Okay, I think this is looking pretty. Do you like what I have? Yep, so I'm going to leave this one right here and we're going to come back in a little bit when it's dried up. So boys and girls, after waiting for a bit, look, these coffee filters, they are now all dried up. Yep, if you wanted to add a second coat on, you can add a second coat on it after it's dry. But Miss Jamie thinks this is okay. This looks already very beautiful. So I'm going to continue on with our craft. So look, Miss Jamie over here has a piece of yellow paper. I'm going to use this as the background paper. You can pick any color you like. And as you can see, I have even trimmed it a little bit to fit my coffee filter right on like this. Yep. So you can have one on the bottom and then the second one on top, whichever one you like to be on top or on the bottom. So I think I'm going to have this one on the bottom. So you can have a glue stick or some glue ready. We're going to apply it in the middle here, and then we're going to stick the first one on. So here is my glue. I'm going to put some in the middle. You don't need to go all the way to the edges because you can just add some in the middle. We're going to stick the coffee filter in the middle here, and it could be a little wavy, and so therefore it looks a little 3D. So Miss Jamie's just gonna add some glue in the middle over here. But of course, if you wanted to add glue all the way to the edges and make sure it stays securely on the paper, you can do that as well. And so here is my first coffee filter. I'm gonna place it in the center, making sure that's on the paper. I'm gonna push down in the middle over here to make sure it stays. Let's hold it down for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great job. Okay, now look, it's stuck onto the piece of paper. Don't peel it off yet though. Let's wait for it to dry. And then we're going to take the glue stick. We're going to add some glue in the center over here. Yep, so once again, you don't need to go all the way to the edges, just some in the middle will be fine. Now we're done with this one. So let's put it over here for now. What we're gonna do is we're going to take the second coffee filter. We're going to line it up with the edges here, and we are going to push it down in the center. So let's push, push, push. Make sure it stays. 5 seconds again, friends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this should be good now. And now the first and the second layer are securely on our piece of paper. You can even roll the edges in a little bit to make it look more 3D. Just like this. So you can see both the first layer and the second layer on the bottom here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. I'm not sure if it shows on the video, but it looks very real on my end over here. And you know what? We're missing one more thing. We need the black center in the middle over here. So you can use a black marker to color in the middle, or you can take out a piece of black paper. Look, Miss Jamie has used this already. So this is a scrap paper, but no worries. We can still use this one. You can find something that is a circle. Maybe it's a cup, maybe it's a bowl, something, and you can place it in the center here. You can draw it out, ask your children to hold on to the pen and trace it out, follow the edges, and then we can cut it out. Or Miss Jamie is just going to cut it out with her free hands. So this is my circle over here. We don't need the paper anymore. Let's put it to the side. I'm going to see if this looks good in the center. What do you think? Does this look good? Miss Jamie is going to trim it a little bit, maybe a little smaller. And we can round the edges a bit more. Okay, I think this looks good, right? Let's place it in the center and see. What do you think? Do you like my poppy? Oh, and by the way, any scraps that you have, if you don't need them anymore, please don't forget to put them in the garbage or in the recycle. Yep, I'm gonna put them here for now. And so once again, we're going to take out glue and we're gonna put some in the middle here. This time, you can make sure it goes all the way to the edges. So I'm just going to apply some glue to the edges as well. To the edges here, and then some in the center here. Okay, I think that should be enough. Now we can put our glue away. You see some glue on the back of my circle here. And now I'm gonna place it in the center. Let's push it down and hold it down for another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think it's all ready. Here is our poppy. You can put it up. You can maybe put it on your wall as a decoration. And this helps you to remember those who have sacrificed for us and those who are protecting us with their lives. I invite everyone to get up with me. We're going to commemorate those who have sacrificed their lives so we can live ours. We're going to take a moment of silence. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We learned so much from that story today. Now, boys and girls, I'm sure the swan and the peacock could be friends, just like how you and I are very different, but I'm sure we can be friends as well. Each one of us are unique and special, but we must learn to accept each other's differences and learn to respect them. Boys and girls, today Miss Jamie wanted to sing, "The more we get together with you." Let's learn the sign language together if you don't know them. The more we get together, the happier we will be. Because your friends are my friends, and my friends are your friends. You got it? Should we start singing? The more we get together, 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 the more we get together, the happier we'll be. 'Cause your friends are my friends and my friends are your friends. The more we get together, the happier we'll be. Good job. And I'm sure everyone could be friends as long as we be patient and we get to know each other. And friends, my friends are your friends. And your friends are also Miss Jamie's friends. Please remember to learn to love and accept each other. Friends, I hope you had fun making this craft, and I hope you learned a lot from our story today. Now, boys and girls, while you're having fun making this poppy craft, please don't forget, behind this poppy, there is a huge and very important meaning. It symbolizes the soldiers and the veterans who are using their lives to protect our lives and the country. They're putting their lives at risk so we can live our lives happily and safely. So next time, if you do see a soldier or if you see a veteran, feel free to say thank you to them. I'm sure they will really appreciate it. Now, boys and girls, you have learned so much today, but maybe your families or maybe your friends don't know this yet. If you get a chance, you can share this with them. You can tell them what you think and what you learned today. Yes, there is a responsibility for us to spread the love and to tell others about Remembrance Day and how we should honor and respect each other as well. It's time to say goodbye, so let's take out our microphone and sing a bye-bye song together. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for joining us today. I had so much fun with you. Feel free to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos. Hope to see you soon again. Bye-bye.